And we're live! Touchdown! Welcome to another edition of RockSim Live. And my name is Tim Van Milligan. My name, there it goes. I'm saying, is my name showing up? There it is. It is December 22, 2023, and it's a Friday afternoon, and I am not in jury duty. So so I was supposed to have jury duty this week, and I was all set and ready to go, and I looked at the web page and see if I had to report, and it said, you might have to report later. So then I checked in later, and it said I didn't have to report it at all. So I got out of it. I'm good for probably another year, at least. So they don't want me on a jury. So we have our chat going on right now. So if you have a question about how to use RockSim, RockSim Pro, or the Launch Visualizer, go ahead and put it into the chat. I am monitoring it over here on this monitor. And we got a number of people in the house. We have Carlos K., and he says, greetings from frigid Marietta, Georgia, USA. Maximo Delgado is here from Chile. Chile the country or Chile the weather? It'd probably be summertime in Chile. Carlos says to Maximo, hello to the warm side of the planet. And Art Applewhite is here. He says, howdy from Texas. Howdy. Art. My daughter just came in from Texas last night, and she's home for Christmas. In fact, she is on the other side of this wall over here doing work because she needs money for college. So buy stuff so that I can pay her. She is making laser cut tubes right now for the Tark pack, the bulk pack that we sell. So I was just talking to her, and she's got like a lot of tubes. She's gonna be working on those tubes for the rest of the day. Maximo, he asked the first question, and he asked, how do I design a model rocket in RockSim? Well, that's what we're here for, and we can definitely do that question today. And he says, like a 2 or 3 stage, or just one. We can do 2 or 3. It's pretty simple. Chris's Rocketry and More is here, and he says hello to everyone. Rosa says hello from Canada. Troy Armette says hello from Riverton, Utah. Ooh, that's like not too far away from here. Well, at least 6 or 7 hours. Marcel from Parker, Colorado. That's even closer. That's like just near Denver. Jim Hammond, he says, I have a RockSim question. If I wanted to take a previously designed rocket and upscale, does RockSim allow me the option to indicate the upscale size? Okay, we can answer that question too. So we got 2 questions going. Chuck Garnes is here, and he says, hi, Tim, watching from Pittsburgh. Cool. Thanks for using my club's launch site in an earlier episode. One of the few times I get to watch live. So great. Glad to have you, Chuck. And he says, Merry Christmas. And Space is Cool is here from New Jersey. Wow, got a lot of people in the house. Everybody must be off this afternoon. So if you're here, welcome. And if you're watching on replay, I'm glad to say hello to you too. So let's get into it. We got a couple of questions, so let's answer those questions. But first, I was going to show you the Apogee website. So you get RockSim at apogeerockets.com. And I accidentally am showing you our, oops, no, I'm not, because that is not showing. Here it is. There it is. That's the desktop. So on my desktop here is the apogeerockets.com webpage. And on this page is a new rocket. It's called the Catalyst. And the catalyst is not out yet. So you are getting a sneak peek right here. You can't order it for Christmas. Sorry, it's too late. Well, it's too early. It's not out yet. It will be out on the day after Christmas. So return all that other junk that you got. And if you want a cool rocket, come to the Apogee app, the webpage on Tuesday, right after Christmas, and you can get yourself a Catalyst. And the Catalyst is a mid-power rocket, mid to high power, because it can fly. It's a 29 millimeter, and it's fairly small and short, so it's fairly lightweight. So you can fly this all the way down to an Estes E16. So a 29 millimeter E motor from Estes, and you can fly it all the way up to a mid-power H. Because it gets too long. Those long H motors, if you get too long, there's not going to be enough room for the parachute. But it can take the H. It's got plywood fins. It's got rail buttons, as you can see, because it's sitting on the launch rail. It's got a nylon parachute, one of those 30-inch nylon parachutes that we sell, that everybody loves. Kevlar shock cord. Plywood fins. It's got 3 centering rings. So the reason for that is to make it easier to put fin fillets on the back end of the rocket by the fins, so you can get internal fillets. And because of the 3 rings, we needed to give you, right here in the middle is a fin alignment, or a centering ring placement jig. So that's what it looks like when it's all packed up. There's the parachute, there's the tube, and you can see it's got a split fin tab. And you're probably wondering, can I do a split fin tab in RockSim? And the answer is no. That we've never thought about before. And it also does come with a launch lug in case you don't have a launch rail. You can fly it off of a 1/4-inch launch pad. There's the fins. They are plywood. What else? There's a 3-inch diameter nose cone. There's the parachute and the parachute protector, the instructions, and there's the centering ring installation jig. And it also has vinyl decals. Yeah. So that's what the Catalyst looks like. So you got a sneak peek today, and this is coming next week. They are putting it into the bag right now, finishing that up, so it'll be all ready to go on Tuesday morning. We're going to be off on Monday. The website will be open. If you have gift certificates and you want to spend those gift certificates, the website will be ready for you. So let's talk about RockSim. That's what we're here for. So if you go to the home page, you click on the home button, and it'll take you to the home page. So right here, if I scroll down on the main page, there's the free RockSim training, which we're doing right now. And if you click on the image, it will take you to our archive. So we're on episode number 149 today, and we will archive everything we talk about here on this page so that you can find out what we're talking about. And there's timestamps on them, so you can just click on the timestamps, and it will take you to that part of the video. Okay, so if you click on the how-to and guides up here on our webpage, and you come down to software, this is where you can get more information about RockSim. Download your free trial. You can do a purchase. You can see what the features are, the frequently asked questions, the system requirements, the version history, some video tutorials. These are more of the official ones. What we're doing here now is kind of the advanced stuff because that's what you have questions about. And then here's the RockSim live training again. So let me start answering the first question, and that was from Jim Hammond. And he asks, if I have a previously designed rocket and I want to upscale. So let's open a design that's small that we might want to upscale. So my computer's running slow again today. All right, so let's try the, so what would be a good one? That's the Peregrine. How about Nemzar? So open up the Nemzar. Oops, what happened? Open. I must have clicked cancel or something. There it is. Okay, so here's the rocket. And if I click over here on this side, and if I go to a side view, I can get the diameter. So the diameter is 1.18 inches. And so his question is, will it allow me to indicate the upscale size? And the answer is yes. So let's do a 2x upscale. So basically we're going to double the size. So the diameter, we want to go from 1.18 inches to 2.36 inches, and that would be a 2x upscale. So to do that, it is really simple, although there are some caveats, and I'll explain those here in just a second. So we're going to go to the rocket menu, and we'll just come down here under scale, and we're going to choose by scale factor. And right now it's set to scale by 1, and we're just going to change that to a 2 and click OK. And boom, we are now at a 2x scale. So we went from 1.18 inches to 2.36s with just a click of a button. Okay, so now let's talk about the caveats. So what didn't get scaled? So basically the outside of the rocket got scaled, but the inside parts might not have gotten scaled. Let's go to the design components and let me show you. So let's go to like this coupler right here. This is a tube coupler, and previously it was a 29 millimeter diameter tube coupler. So if we open that up, now it did upscale the outside diameter and the inside diameter. But here's the issue is body tubes, when you go from like a 1x to a 2x in size, what doesn't usually happen is the wall thickness on the available tubes, not in RockSim, but in real life, the available tubes don't increase as well. So let me give you an example. Let's go back to the Apogee website. And let's go to the shopping. And let's go to building supplies. Let's go to body tubes. So let's, down here, there will be a chart. If I scroll down far enough, where's my chart? Let's go to 29 to 54. Okay, so we're going to start with a 29. So this tube right here, I can tell you from experience because I know the Nemzar kit. The Nemzar kit was based on this 29-inch body or 29 millimeter body tube. So on this page, if I scroll down, here is that 2913 body tube. Okay, so if I look, I need to select the comparison columns. So let's open that up. And I want to show the, I don't care about quantity. I want to go inside diameter, outside diameter, and I don't care about any of this stuff. Okay, so that's good. So what I wanted to show was inside diameter, outside diameter. So on that 29 millimeter tube, the outside diameter was 1.18, and then we doubled it. So that when we doubled it, we went to 2.36. If we double the inside diameter, we go to 2.26. 2.28. So now if I go and look for a tube that is approximately 2.36 inches, so I'm going to have to scroll down here, and I'm just looking down in this column here. So the biggest one that I have, that's the closest, is this one right here, is 2.26. But my inside diameter is 2.31. And remember we said if we double the outside diameter of the tube coupler, which was, I forgot what it was, 2.26, will that fit in this available tube? So this is where it gets hard, because now you have to adjust tubes to what's available. So when you scale, you're just scaling everything. But when you actually go to buy components, the components are not going to be those diameters that you want that are exact. So basically what you have to do is you have to come back to each component inside the rocket and tweak the diameters. And it takes time, but you got to do it. There's really no way around it, because RockSim is just, it's not smart enough to think about what components fit together. And this is, people always ask, is there a use for AI in rocketry? And this would be a really good place for AI, is scaling rockets. Because when you scale up your rocket in RockSim, now you have to go buy the components, and you need everything to match. So if there was an artificial intelligence, basically what artificial intelligence does is it's making decisions for you. So it's going to give you, you have a collection of tubes, and you want to scale up, and what the artificial intelligence, what we'd like it to do is to pick all the right tubes for us. We're not there yet. And when is that going to be? I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence, so I could not tell you. So save my changes, no. So that answers Jim Hammond's question about how to upscale a rocket. It's easy to upscale, but you do have to come back and tweak some of the internal components. Jim Hammond says he's retired. That's why he's here. Fat Bang says hello from Texas. John Sullivan is here. He says watching from Belleville, Illinois. I think that's near St. Louis, Missouri. Space is cool. He says, I came back from school. Cool, welcome home. Space is cool says, I don't have my L1, so how can I use that? What do you mean by that? A 29 or 38 millimeter motor mount. So he's probably talking about our scale question is, what is the motor mount in here? So when we doubled the size of this motor mount, it was previously it was a 24 millimeter. And if I click on that tube, that one, and we look at that, now we have a diameter of 1.95 inches. And a 29 millimeter motor mount would be 1.14. So when it doubled the size of the motor mount from a 24, it almost went to 2 inches. So it's between a 38 and a 54 millimeter diameter motor mount. Diameter, scroll down, and keep scrolling. See, here's a 54 millimeter diameter, and it has an outside diameter of 2.26, and the 38 Where's a 38? Here's a 38 motor mount tube, and it has an outside diameter of 1.64. So the one back in here, it was 1.9 inches, which is greater than a 38, but less than the 54. So I would say we would probably turn this rocket into a 38 millimeter motor. And so I would select that. So that's the tube. Let's click OK. And you can see it threw it in there. And if you look at the back, and to zoom in, what I did, I just used the scroll wheel on my mouse. And you can zoom in and out. And then you can click and drag so you can see this better. So previously, I think this ring right there was an engine block. And this was a centering ring, and that's a centering ring. So we would need to move that centering ring forward and then just check that the inside diameter matches the outside diameter of this tube. And that's real easy to do. So you just click OK. So that it put in a new motor mount tube, and it's no longer a 24. Now it's a 38. So if I click the down caret right here, it will show me the components that are inside. So here's the forward centering ring. And we want to check this box right here that says automatically calculate the known values. So we're going to click on that. And that will, if I look at it, put it on the inside. I wanted to put it on the outside. That's interesting. That was... I would probably have to delete that centering ring and add it back. So let's do that. Because it's on the inside of the tube and we need it to be on the outside. So I'm going to highlight that tube and then hit delete. It's going to ask you, do I want to delete it? So I'm going to say yes. And okay, so that was the motor mount tube. I can either put the new centering ring on this body tube right here, which I probably should do, or the motor mount tube. But if I attach it to that motor mount tube, it might put it on the inside again. So let's put it on the outside and come here to centering ring. And I'm going to ignore the database. So here's our centering ring. And you can see this blue line right here. That's where the centering ring is right now. I need to give it some thickness so you can see it. So let's call it 0.25 inches. So there it is. I made it larger. And I need to slide it back here. So I'm just going to change the location. So now watch this inside diameter right here as I slide this ring over the top of the tube. So I'm getting close, boom. So it automatically adjusted that centering ring for me, so I didn't have to adjust it. So then I'm going to say this is the forward centering ring. Click OK. So now we got one ring. I'm going to have to do the same thing on this back one. So let's delete it. So I highlight it, then I right click on it, hit delete. It should go away. And I'm going to just take this centering ring right here. I'm just going to duplicate it. So to duplicate it, again, right click and do a copy. And then come up here to the body tube and paste. And it pasted it right on top. So now I need to edit that part. I'm going to call this the aft ring. And the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep sliding it back to the back end of the tube, right about maybe there. So you can see it right there at the back end of the tube. Now this right here was an engine block, and since this is a high power rocket, we're probably not going to need an engine block. So I'm just going to delete that entirely. So highlight it, and then come down here and delete, or you can do a cut and say yes. Okay, so that's how I did it. I just, just tweaking the components to what is actually available. Although in real life, this 2-inch or 2.3-inch diameter tube, it's not really available. So these are all custom parts. Okay, so I got off track. Jeff Gortowski says, hi from waterlogged Los Angeles. Yeah, I hear you guys are getting some water there. I hope it washes out to the sea really quick, and maybe it washes out all the debris too. Chuck Garn says, will nose weight be required for the catalyst? And the answer is no. No nose weight is required, even with an H motor. That rocket, we have a really long nose cone on there, so that nose cone, it's made out of plastic, and so it's a little bit heavier, so that plastic will move that rocket, or the center of gravity far enough forward where you don't need it. I think I have a catalyst RockSim file, so I'm going to go open that. So file, open. What did I do with that? What did I do with it? I'm looking in the wrong spot. RockSim Designs. And date modified. There it is, catalyst. Open. To save my changes? No. Hopefully it opens. This one has some textures on it, and that can make it take a little longer to load. In fact, my textures I can see already are backwards. So this is the RockSim file for the catalyst. My fin textures, the textures are the decals. They're backwards. But I wanted to show you the, this doesn't have a name. There we go, add the name. You can see here's our center of gravity, and here's the center of pressure. And let's load in a big rocket motor, and we can show, choose an engine. Yeah, let's go like an H135. That's kind of a mid-range. Let's make it a 14. It has an overhang of 0.5 inches, and click OK. Click OK. Okay, so you can see here's my center of gravity, here's my center of pressure, and there's still no nose weight up here. So this is one of those rockets, actually, if you put a big motor in it, even bigger, let's try something crazy. Let's go with length. Okay, so here's an I-205. Click OK. So see, this is an I-205, and that's even, the center of gravity is actually, it's still okay. And the reason is because we got a lot of big motor hanging up here in the front. But the problem is we've only got this much room right here from the front of the motor to the back of the nose cone for our parachute. And I'm using RockSim Pro, and RockSim Pro has a measure feature. So I can click from here to here, and it tells me I got 3.25 inches for my parachute. And that's, you're probably going to scorch your parachute. Although you probably could wrap it around the outside of the motor. But even with a long motor, our center of gravity is still okay on the catalyst because it's got this big heavy nose cone. And it's short, and so those long motors are actually going to move the center of gravity forward, which makes it more stable. because we have part of the motor in here that is in front of the center of gravity. Okay, so that's a good question. Carlos McCauley is here from Palm Bay, Florida. That used to be my old stomping grounds when I lived in Cape Canaveral. Didn't know Palm Bay is where FIT is, right? I went to FIT, but not to that campus. Maximo says, can you make the Hermes HLV on the sim and the Hermes, it's a cargo? Okay, so Hermes, so let's open up a Hermes. And let me go back to here. So here's a Hermes. This one also has a lot of textures on it, so it's going to take a little bit longer to open. So save my changes? No. My computer right now, because I'm running the, I'm running a lot. I'm running RockSim and I'm running the streaming software. It's like bogging down. I can hear the fan going. Okay, so this is the Hermes. Come on, I'm waiting for it to catch up to my there it is. Okay, so the question is, can you make the Hermes HLV on the sim and the Hermes it's a cargo? Well, I'm not sure what he means by making it a cargo, because it's already set up. Well, the rocket is already set up for, it has a payload bay here in the front. So let me go to the side view. So this right here, I can put cargo inside of here. So if I zoom in, I can measure again. I can measure from here to here. Come on. Click on 2 points, here to here. Okay, what's going on? Why is it not letting me measure? It's kind of stuck. Yeah, okay then. I should be able to click. Oh boy, it looks like my fins went crazy back here. But anyway, this is a BT60 tube. So that's 1.63 inches that way. So I'm thinking that's probably about 7 inches from here to here that I have room to put cargo. And cargo could be anything. And to add it into RockSim, first you select where it's going to go. So I'm going to click on this tube. And then what am I going to put inside? Well, I don't know what it is, so I'll just call it a mass object. And it's going to open one up. There's so many parts in here that it's taking slow. And I'm going to cancel out of that. We got other questions? Okay, so let me go back to 2D. Come on. This is a bad example because it's so big with all these textures on it. It has to think. Okay, so there's the mass object right there, and we're going to move it right into the middle of the cargo bay. And then just give it some mass. I don't know what it might be, 20 grams, whatever. You can decide and then click OK. So basically, we've added cargo to our rocket that quick. If you have a more specific question, Maximo, I can try to answer it. Fatbank asks, if the upscale is 2x, should the fins be scaled at 2x? Or do they maintain the same surface area? So when you scale a rocket up, everything goes up by 2x. And that's the advantage of that feature. Let me try a different design here that's simpler. Something simple, something simple. I'm going to try this one. Two-stager Lodestar. Save my changes? No. Okay, so right now, if I scale this rocket right here, so we got a diameter of 1.32, and also look at the span diameter. The span diameter is 8.73 inches. So that's from here. That's kind of like looking at it at the bottom as if it was a circle was drawn around the fins. That would be the diameter. So when you scale the rocket, you know, the length is going to double, the diameter is going to double, and the span diameter is going to double. So let's do that again. So rocket scale factor by factor of 2. Click OK, and boom, you see that the span diameter also doubled. So basically, the fins doubled in size, and that's the way you would expect it to work. Now, if you can actually scale the fins as well. Let's open a new design again. I want something that's fairly small. Let's go with this Aerobee 300, 1.9 inch. Okay, so here's these fins, and they have a span diameter of 7.9 inches. There's another feature in RockSim. So I can go to the fins, and I think if I go to plan points, this button right here, you can scale the fins, and I can scale the fins by a factor of 2. So this is how big they are now, and if I scale them up by 2, and I click OK, it's thinking. You can see now they're much bigger. Basically, it just took everything and just jumped it up by a factor of 2. Using this feature right here is, it's not used very often. In fact, I forget where it is, because it's rare that you're going to scale your fins up like that. Typically, you just scale the whole rocket up. And that's the easiest and quickest way to do things. Okay. Stuart LaFon says, "Hi, Tim from Vermont. Merry Christmas." Well, Merry Christmas, Stuart. He says, "Thinking about getting a lock precision mini mag. On RockSim shows a mass weight in nose cone in front, but kit comes with nose weight. Just wondering why it shows that." Let's find out. So let's go File, Open. We're going to look for the lock mini mag. Let me go to my application folder. Where are you, RockSim? There we go. And I want to go to the designs folder. And then in here, we're going to the lock folder. There it is, lock precision. And now we're looking for the mini mag. There it is, PK86 mini mag. Save my changes? No. Okay, so the kit, he says, the real kit doesn't come with nose weight. So he's wondering why this has a ballast of 340 grams. So let's put in a rocket motor and see if we actually need that or not. So I'm going to choose an engine, and it says it's 38 millimeter. So let's choose something, we'll choose an a VMAX and give it an engine overhang of 0.5 inches. Click OK. So there it is, and I'm going to click OK here. And so here's the mini mag, and these are mass objects. So this one is the ballast. This one right here is paint and glue. That one is the shock cord. And there's one more. Shock cord mount is that one. Okay, so, but I wanted to see where the center of gravity is and center pressure. So here's center of gravity, and I can make that center of gravity symbol bigger. Just go to the rocket design attributes, go to the side view marker size. You can change it there. So I'm going to make it 1 inch, and that will make it bigger. And then hit tab. See, now it's bigger. I can see it a little bit easier. So let's take that nose weight and let's remove it. So we're going to delete it. Again, I just did a right click and use that. There's a drop down menu and then select delete. I'm going to say yes. Okay, so by taking out the nose weight, I'm still stable. So I think you could probably fly it without any of the ballast in there. It certainly will be more stable if it has ballast. Somebody in our club flew one of these kits, and they had a lot of ballast in the nose cone. And the downside of putting ballast in the nose cone is it makes the nose cone really heavy. And what happened on their particular flight, I was the RSO, and the rocket separated, and there was so much nose weight in the nose cone that when it separated, it snapped the shock cord. So now the nose cone is free, and it had so much nose weight in it. It came down so fast, and people didn't see it. And I'm pointing up and I'm screaming at people, and it hit the ground and it dug a hole probably that deep. And yeah, somebody could have got hurt. So I am not a huge fan of nose weight for reasons of safety. It's better to make the rocket longer than to add nose weight, because you can make it longer and keep the rocket lighter in weight and get the same stability. So if you have a choice of adding nose weight or making the rocket longer, it's always better to make it longer for the reason of safety. So that's my design tip today. Terry Wheelock is here. Cherry Wheelock says, I put up a video short of me Christmas rocket on me channel. He says, do I win? Well, I gotta see it, Terry. So put the link into the chat and we'll take a look at it. He says, okay, we'll go back. Maximo Delgado says, I got a Star Wars racer on Shell gasoline, and it's Mandalorian. The employees said that I got it's the last one, but tomorrow I can buy the others. Cool. I didn't realize those were available. Marcel says, I sent my Christmas rocket file to Brandon with questions about 3D color and missing motors in my database. Missing motors in your database? Yeah, we could talk about that. Jim Hammond says, use the Estes door knob for a 2x upgrade example. Thanks. Okay, let's see if we got the Estes doorknob. Estes doorknob. Oh, cool, it's in there. Did I save my changes? No. Okay, so it's loading the Estes doorknob. Let's go to a side view. So diameter 3 inches, span diameter of 9. Again, to upscale it, just go to Rocket, the menu, come down to scale by a factor of 2, and click OK. So the rocket image doesn't really change, but what we did see was that the center of gravity and the center of pressure symbols got smaller in proportion because those are tied to a specific dimension. But the diameter of the rocket just upscaled from 3 to a 6, and the span diameter went to 18, and now the length is 54 millimeters. So if you are going to build this rocket, again, you have to go in and tweak some of the components. So like, for example, start with the motor mount. And if I open that up, it's 2.42, which is not a common motor mount diameter size. So we'll go to the database and choose from the database, find a 38 millimeter motor mount tube, click OK. You can see it got a lot smaller back there. And let's go to a side view. So it's this green one right there. And you can see my fin tabs aren't reaching the motor tube, so we'll have to tweak that as well. But my centering rings, this one right there was probably an internal ring. So let's click OK for that. Let's click on that. Ooh, that's a sleeve ring. I'm just trying to think in the doorknob, why do we need a sleeve ring? I don't know. So we'll delete it. I'm going to hit delete. We don't need that in our upscale. So that one's gone. And now this centering ring here, what was this one right here? A front centering ring. Oh, when we, yeah, we're probably not going to need that front ring or the mid ring. One of the two. So I'll delete the mid ring. Delete it. Yes. Okay, so we're going to take the front ring right here. And we're going to slide this backwards. Oops. Right there. That's a good position for it. And you saw that the inside diameter changed. My thickness, is probably going to make this. This is a 6-inch diameter rocket, so we're probably going to need like 1/4-inch plywood here. Where it's no longer cardboard. Now we want to go to plywood. And click OK. We got to do the same thing for the back ring. Its location was probably okay, but it needs to be plywood. 0.25 inches. So there's the back ring. Click OK. Okay, so now we need to adjust the fins because our fin tabs aren't hitting the tube. So we're going to go to the fins. So here's our fins. Let's see if I can make this bigger for you. All right, so we'll go to the through the wall fin mount. Click on that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And we see this pink line right here we need to adjust. So the first thing is to get it down to the tube. And that's easy. You just click the button that says calculate the fin tab depth. And then put it right against the tube. Next, to change, see we got a little bit of an interference here with this back edge of the fin tab and the centering ring. We need to move that edge just a little bit forward. And I think I can change that with the length, make the length shorter. Okay, so it's close. Let's call it 2.17. You can see it's hanging over a little bit. Let's call it 2.1. Oops, that was the wrong thing to do. It's not that one, it's this one. Okay, 5.8 inches, so that makes it work. So I've adjusted my fins, and you probably change these launch lugs to rail buttons. And the parachute, I'm not sure what size parachute this is anymore. If I open it up, it was 24, now it's a 48. 48 probably be okay. So we'll just leave that alone. So that, again, we get a lot of questions today about scaling. But that's, that's how fast we went and scaled this rocket, the Estes doorknob. It doesn't take long, but you do have to tweak those inside components. Alfred Indy is here, and he says Terry Willock used his doorknob for an egg lofting contest. He ended up with poached eggs. Tasty, says Terry. Chuck Garn says, will it be possible in future versions of RockSim that when you are designing a rocket and you get to the fins, will there be an option to choose proportionally sized fins for the size of the rocket? Well, that feature is already in RockSim right now. So, and it bases the proportion, when you say proportional, what it does, there's a RockSim uses a formula. If I just throw a fin on here, so here's this body tube, and we're going to leave these other fins here as an example, because this is probably a good size fin for this rocket. So, but if I add a new fin on here, so I select the tube and then come over here to fins and add a fin. And what it does is looks in the database. I'm going to say ignore that. And you can see this new pink one. Let me change the color. Let's change it to purple. We need something different. How about dark purple? Okay, so here is the new fin. Here is the old fin. So, I'll just slide this fin a little bit forward so that they're not overlapping each other. So this is the old fin, this is the new fin. So RockSim, when you start a design, it's going to throw a fin on the rocket that it's basically going to try to make the rocket stable. So it's a little bit oversized, but it is stable. So there's that feature. So there's what I'm saying is we don't really need to add a new feature because it's already there. And then we have Hugo BG06. We've got like 5 minutes left. I was waiting for Terry to put in his RockSim design video, a link to it. I think we got most of the questions. If I missed your question, type it in real quick. We still have time. Although, did my video freeze? I'm not sure. I got an error that says use tube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I'm on Ethernet. I don't know. YouTube. I didn't do it. Save your changes? No. Okay. Well, Marcel says, I am having trouble with 3D color. And Chuck says, oh, I didn't realize that the feature was there. Alfred Indy says, the Catalyst did 3,838 feet on an H135. Carlos McCauley asks, can RockSim do geometric airframes? Well, RockSim is limited to airframes that are circular. So if that answers your question, I hope it does. So it can be any shape you want as long as it's a cylinder. Okay, so Marcel, he's having problems with 3D color. So let me go to a 3D. Okay, so this doorknob rocket is white with an orange nose cone. So if I wanted to make the fins a different color, you go to the fins or whatever component you want to change colors, and then you come up to the color tab, and there's two colors. There's a 2D color, which is what we're seeing here, and then there's the 3D color. So this side here is 2D, this side is 3D, and the diffuse color is the basic color. So if I made it green and click OK, now in 3D it should be green. So right now I'm looking at 2D. So to make it 3D, come over here, slide down to 3D. And so now my color, this color green, matches that color green. Yeah. I would just leave it as simple 3D color. If you start changing things, see, when I changed it, it kind of had like the light hitting the fin is more blue. And so the color shifted a little bit. It shifted from this bright green to a darker green. And if I change the ambient color, won't let me click. If I uncheck it, there we go. Let's make it a dark green. Click OK. And then use this, and nothing changed. it's light, and then if I click on this one, it should get darker. So I don't know if that answered your question, Mark, but that's basically how to change colors. Like I said, just use simple 3D. It's more accurate. Alfred Indy says, get that catalyst in stock, and one is sold. Yeah, so it'll be available on Tuesday. We got to build them first, and they're building them right now. Hugo BG06 says, Tim, I have a question. I've been following the channel for a while, and I'd like to start making rockets. If I understood you correctly from your website, you do not deliver to Europe. Well, we don't deliver anywhere. We ship. We don't deliver. This is a semantic issue with me because people always ask me if we deliver. We don't deliver. Delivering means that I would take it, put it in my car, drive to your house, and hand it over to you. That's delivery. We ship. So we put it in a box, we hand it off to somebody else, and then they do the delivery. But we do deliver, we ship to Europe. The exception is non-hazardous materials only. So we can't ship rocket motors or igniters. But we can ship everything else on our website. You know, if you wanted this body tube right here, we can ship it to you and it would be delivered. If you wanted a rocket motor, that's a problem. We can't ship those outside the United States. We don't have in place the ability to do that. And then it would be really expensive. The only way to get rocket motors outside of the United States is to ship it in volumes, like container size. Estes and Aerotech, they do ship motors outside the United States. But we do not, because we would have to ship them one at a time. And at one at a time, the hazmat fees would be astronomical. And then there's regulations. Every country has their own shipping and receiving regulations as part of their postal system. And we know, for example, like some countries we can ship LiPo batteries to, but other countries we cannot. And it would be the same for rocket motors. You know, like France is a black hole. They don't allow anything there. I don't think they can get Estes or Aerotech motors in France. But you could get them in, you know, Netherlands. Anyway, we're running close on time here. Terry says we want PTP. I guess that's point-to-point rocket delivery. Yeah, that would be cool. Okay. We're past 3 o'clock. So it's time to stop for the week. We will be back next week. So next week, what day will that be? 25, 26, 27, 28, 29th? The 29th, which is Friday, I hope. We will be back. I'm not planning on going anywhere. My daughter is home already, so we'll be here for Christmas. But the Apogee itself will be closed on Christmas Day. But if you want to shop, go ahead. We'll ship it out on Tuesday. The Catalyst will be available Tuesday. So sometime around 9 a.m. Mountain Time, it should be turned on because that's when our newsletter goes out. So we would like to have it available. We're crossing my fingers. If not, it will be later in the day. There might be something like one little tiny issue on packaging. I don't know. But thank you for coming. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. And we'll see you on Friday. So maybe you might even launch something. So if you do, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go out and launch something.